Hey there, it's me. I wanted to do a sort of tangenty rant about the spawns in Modern Warfare 2 because I'm a scrub and I like to take part in respawn game modes most of the time, and, well, the spawns affect me poorly. But in order to make this video, I'm gonna have to open up the commentary with an admittance that I was wrong back when the game came out. Luckily for you guys, my want to rant is higher than my want to be right, so I'll confess here that, well, you'll see. So I was a bit slow on the intake when it came to Modern Warfare 2's spawn system. People were telling me it was different, and people were telling me that it had problems, and I couldn't tell any difference between its imperfect spawns and any other COD game's imperfect spawns. Usually, Call of Duty spawn algorithms almost seem designed to provide headache-inducing deaths. I get that. I mean, I hate it, I'm not condoning it, don't worry, but it's just always been imperfect, so when Modern Warfare 2's launch spawns were imperfect, I just chalked it up to being imperfect. But no, I get it now. People were trying to tell me that the spawning algorithm was different and that spawns were extra egregious in this game, and I've decided, after a lot of playing, after reaching level 267, I have decided that yes, the spawns in this game are extra stinky. There we go, that's the video. I mean, it's really not all of the video, but it's most of what I'm gonna be saying here. These spawns are fucking atrocious. They're god-awful. This game brings back a complaint I had all the way back in Modern Warfare 3, which is the feeling of revenge spawns. I absolutely hate revenge spawns. Spawning back where I just died to either hunt down the person that just killed me, creating a really 1 KD cycle, or spawning back where I died just to die again. I mean, both of those things are just obviously, hate to say it, not ideal. Like, nobody wants to spawn 6 feet from where they died, and nobody wants the person they just killed to gain back the map control that you should have just taken from them just by hitting the button on their controller or keyboard to respawn. And that is where this game completely loses me. So these maps already have a lot of interwoven flank routes, a lot of doors and hallways and windows, and they're very porous maps in a lot of ways. They're not necessarily complex or that interesting, but they give you a lot of different ways to approach a position. And for the most part, that would be fine. But already that inherent design is going to cause some issues with flow. Because enemies have a lot more areas to come from, you're gonna get attacked from a lot more areas. It's that simple. Combining that with a system where killing somebody doesn't exactly mean you took them out of their power position or you lost them any footing means that the game feels like an uphill slog. In order to keep the game feeling faster, the game will spawn enemies next to, you guessed it, more enemies. So, do the math. If you have 3 enemies approaching you, and you kill the one in the front, and then the other 2 come looking for you because you just killed their friend, it might respawn the friend you just killed with the 2 people that you just killed them near. Basically, if the game decides that you could spawn next to your teammates and not immediately die, which sometimes it doesn't even seem to care about that, if it decides it's okay, it'll put you next to your teammates. So, if you kill a player, and his buddies come to kill you, he might spawn with the buddies coming to kill you, and that is obviously bad, because how do you gain map control, and how many enemies are you supposed to fight off in a game with a average TTK of like 200 milliseconds? How the hell are you supposed to fight off opponent after opponent after opponent? Like, if Ghost wasn't such a crutch ultimate perk, I would be running Quick Fix and Stims on every single loadout. Maybe Quick Fix, Stims, and Restock, because my god, so many times I get into an engagement, take someone out, take someone out, take someone out, and then my death comes from the first person I killed in that group. I don't have the health for that, I don't have the ammo for that. There's already an issue with Call of Duty being sweaty as hell. Infinity Ward tries to reduce that by making footsteps louder. They remove slide canceling, of course. They make aim down sight and sprint to fire speeds a little slower than they probably should be. They make jump shotting a little bit more difficult than it probably should be. They give us more recoil and more visual recoil, so it's a little bit harder to beam people across the map. Okay. But we still have unlimited sprint and tack sprint and perks that make us tack sprint farther. And there's my issue. We haven't had limited sprint since like Black Ops 2, so I get that a lot of you guys are used to playing Ghosts with Marathon, Advanced Warfare with its default unlimited sprint, and then you also were playing Infinite Warfare and Black Ops 3, both having unlimited sprint, except for Modern Warfare Remastered and that brief period of time in COD World War II before they added unlimited sprint. Yeah, it's been unlimited. which means that players do not have to pace themselves on their way to you. Now, one of the things I really liked that Infinity Ward did was they really nerfed larger magazines. If you want to have a 60 round M4, for instance, your gun is going to be very, very heavy. It's going to slow you down. Your sprint to fire speed is going to be slowed down. Your reload's going to be slowed down. You can't just do the MW 2019 thing, run a 60 round mag, no stock M4 and be fine. No, you're going to have to take some penalties. So at least they brought back the most people are using 30 rounds of ammunition in their assault rifles and SMGs. Like, most weapons are doing that. Good, I'm glad they brought that back because it does slow players down a little bit. But you know, one of the things is in old COD games, if you wanted to sprint for a long time or even sprint unlimited amounts of time, you had to run a perk. And now that you don't have to do that, you can just run right back to where you just died a lot sooner. There is less time between the person dying and them coming back and trying to kill you. Combining that with more simple one-story maps with less pronounced power positions, it means that somebody's likely going to come back to the position that you killed them in really goddamn quickly. A lot of us like to look back on COD with rose-tinted glasses unless any of the mechanics from those older COD games is brought up. And one of the mechanics or design choices back in the day was less ammo and less sprinting. And I believe it's one of the ways they made those games feel less sweaty despite them still having a lightning fast time to kill and hit scan guns. We're not even going to get into streaming culture. We're not even going to get into the fact that the average player wants to be better than the average player did back in 2009. We're not even going to get into that because that's a whole other bag of beans. And I'm not digressing here either. What I'm saying is that when you have a spawn system that puts you right back in the action, combined with an unlimited sprint plus tac sprint that it makes it a lot easier to get back to the action, you have a game that feels at least twice as sweaty as it needs to. People say this game is slow and has no movement, but yet whenever I'm playing, the best players are the ones that are flying through the map really, really quickly with weapons that have balanced recoil compensation and, of course, handling speeds. On top of that, suppressors still aren't working properly in Modern Warfare 2, meaning if they have a UAV and you have a suppressor, your suppressor is just for some reason countered by the UAV when it comes to you showing up on the minimap, which is bizarre. Also, you don't have your ghost perk for the first half of a lot of matches, and so UAVs are constantly getting you spotted. Not only that, there is a pinging system and a lot of other ways to get spotted and seen, and your footsteps are noisy as fuck, and dead silence is heavily nerfed in this game compared to Vanguard and Modern Warfare 2019. So people already know where you're going to be and where you're coming from. They already have you spotted, they already see you on the minimap, they see you on the compass, they already know where you are, and if they don't see you, they hear you. You ever talk about a video game until you start wondering where you play it? That's me right now. And that combined with these spawns, these god-awful spawns that seem to think that I need to be right back in the action as fast as possible or I'm gonna fall down flat on my face, it's bad. Okay, if you want faster paced games, bring back combat pacing. Or just give people a shipment and I don't know, dome playlist so they can just have that more hectic gameplay. Bring Rust back in, bring a bunch of tiny little maps in for all I give a fuck. What I'm saying is, you do not need to take a 6v6 TDM and just crank up the intensity by creating the worst spawns known to man. Now, the other part of this that really sucks is that if the enemy team is campy or rat-like, then they're going to get people spawning near them. So trying to push into rats is hard enough. If they're constantly being resupplied with more rats, that's even worse. On the one hand, if you're coordinating with a team, anchoring spawns has never been easier. On the other hand, you should not be able to anchor spawns where people shouldn't be able to spawn. There are so many weird times in Modern Warfare 2 where I spawn in and I am completely discombobulated about where it put me, because it'll put me right in the line of fire, towards the middle of the map even though no one's on either side, and I'll see 6 teammates in front of me and I'll think, okay, that's the safe area, I'll turn around and I'll get shot from the back because the 6 enemies are intermingling with my 6 teammates. I know that there's only 5 teammates plus me, but you get what I'm saying, hopefully. Modern Warfare 2, despite removing a lot of things that make Call of Duty feel more relentless and sweaty, made the game feel not just more sweaty, not just more intense, not just more draining to play, but they made it feel something far worse, something you should absolutely avoid with a formula as simple as Call of Duty's. They made the game feel random. That's what I can't get behind. That's what hurts my play sessions in the long run. Ranting aside, what are my solutions? Run things that spot people and watch your back. I honestly would say run more claymores. I would say run spotter. I would say run heartbeat sensors and snapshot grenades, UAVs and counter UAVs, and try to proc dead silence as much as possible if you're not going to do those things. Always run a suppressor just to make it slightly harder to pinpoint where you are, and most of all, run the tracker perk. It's not counterable, and it just works really, really well. I think this game has pretty decent map design and good gunplay and just an overall good feeling to it. I like the game, I'm not ashamed to say it, but nothing hurts my play session more than this game's perk system and spawn system and lethal and tactical system. I need to make more rants, don't I? Anyway, I'll see you when I see you guys. Goodbye. If you enjoyed this video for whatever reason, if you at least got a moment of peace from those thoughts that are plaguing your head, if you at least got a little catharsis listening to me complain about the same thing you'd complain about if you had a channel, then, you know, leave a like. If you didn't care to hear me complain and you got to this point in the video and you're wondering why does anybody watch this, well, I have a solution to your problem. Leave.